Monica, thank you so much for coming on. I definitely have some stuff I want to ask you about. Interested in the bodybuilding in the past, the dog. I'm sure we can talk about dogs all day. Um, I'm really interested in your personal branding. That's what I wanted to ask you first about. Not anything specific, just discuss it. I'll be honest. Sometimes, when especially my female clients, I point them towards your page and I say, "Go and look at this." And I still can't say why I think it's really good. So I'm really interested in how you think about it. Maybe we can start there.
Well, why do you think it's really good? What's the good
I,
part about it?
I don't, I do know clarity, I think,
Mm.
consistency,
Hmm.
personality, maybe like that comes across. I like dogs, obviously. Um, I don't know. I'm really interested in how you think about it because it seems to me like it looks like it's really easy to do. But I know that's not true. I know when things look really good and consistent, there's obviously a lot of thought in gone into it. So, like, tell me about the development of it.
I think that, and thank you for the acknowledgement. I think that the biggest thing about everything that I do is that it was developed over the years and it builds on top of each other. So my background is journalism. That's what I studied back in Poland years and years ago.
Okay.
I didn't finish those studies, but that was always my thing, writing and reading, all that. So that was first. And then moving to America, I thought, I'm always going to have an accent and not a cool one like yours. So I'm not going to be on television because I have this accent. Well, we're talking 22 years ago. So now we have our own television in the form of this, or in the form of Instagram, in the form of Facebook, right? So I thought, this is not going to be journalism. What else is there for me to do? And so that's when I discovered fitness. My background is not fitness. I discovered fitness by accident, by going to the gym and then being told by the doctor that I should be careful because I'm gaining weight, and then finally hiring a trainer. He was not very knowledgeable, but I ultimately was like, all right, well, I need to do something to learn more. So I went to school and da 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 da. Then I started working at all women's gym, where suddenly we had many women trainers. So to differentiate myself, I started doing bodybuilding. And then after 7 years, I quit that job. I opened my fitness studio and then I closed it. I moved it all online. So like everything that I do builds up on the previous thing. So therefore, when I maxed out this one level, I went to the next level. And so that, and then in terms of working with clients, I think I'm very good at listening to them and seeing what it is that they need. Because even business coaching or life coaching came from clients, from fitness clients who were like, hey, you have really organized this back end of your business. You have emails, you have podcasts, you have reels, you have 3 Instagrams. How do you do it? And I'm like, oh, yeah, totally can help you with this. And it started with fitness trainers, but now I have a professional organizer, I have a physical therapist client, I have a client who manages Airbnbs. And so, but it's really just organizing the back end. Now, when it comes to branding, I never really had it as like something that I deliberately developed. My commitment was just to be authentically me. So then it's easy because you don't put on a face or a mask or something and try to be consistent, which is interesting. I've had a few clients who were performing in life. So for example, professional opera singers, and they also wanted to do coaching, and they would get on video and they'll be like, hello, da, 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 da. And I'm like, whoa, you can't do that. I know that at work, you normally put a face on, or you take a role, but we can't do this in your content, because if you're going to be one way and then someone sits with you and then you're another way, it immediately disappears the trust that you've built with them.
Mm.
So I think, just being authentically you, because as you know, there are so many people out there in the world. And so when you yourself, you will resonate with a certain group of people, and then certain other people are going to be like, no, that's not my cup of tea. So when you're yourself, it's making it easy for the people who watch you to be able to resonate with you. And then the people who are like, yeah, that's not mine, they just go. And so then you're like pre-qualifying them by just being yourself. So that's the part. Um and sadly, being kind of unapologetic about who you are, and not being afraid to exclude the people who you don't want to work with, or exclude the people who are not your people, in how you speak and how you present yourself and what you put out there, so that it's also clear. And sadly, because when we want to help people, we want to help all the people, but we know it's not feasible.
Was that
So
hard at the
that's
beginning?
Which part of it?
I guess
What specifically?
I'm always interested in like, because I think, by the way, I think one of the reasons why it looks good, it almost looks like really obviously authentic, but really relaxed, but polished at the same time. And I don't know quite how they're possible. I'm sometimes, I think people are good at content creation and making it look good, but then sometimes
Hmm.
it looks overly good. And then other people are good at like throwing shit on the internet, and it just, I mean, to be honest, that's probably me, and it doesn't look good. My eyes are terrible for this stuff. So like I've had to hire branders and stuff in the past because I can't do it very well.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's kind of, I think, why it looks like real, but then really polished as well. But I saw one of, I think I saw something that you were talking about on your clients and saying that they felt that was really hard putting themselves out there. Did you find it hard at the beginning?
Mm, no, but the authenticity part was hard, and not because of anything else other than, you don't want to, I didn't want to offend people or cause some backlash to have someone say, oh, Monica, you don't know anything, and um, I have this situation, that situation. But then I realized when you're vanilla, in the sense of like, you look warm, you're not really sending for anything, people don't have any kind of strong feelings about you. And again, it's better to be authentic and truly yourself, other than being this kind of like tiptoeing around what you actually want to say. And I think it was like 2022 or something, and one of my mentors at the time said, you do say what you want to say in one-on-one interactions, but out in the open, it's kind of packed in a nice little package, not to be too bold, not to be too straightforward, not to offend anyone. And by doing that, and I was like, it's true. And I gradually kind of changed it. And sure, and I know that some people, I'm sure, are like, who does she think she is? But at the same time, like, that's who I think I am. And so putting myself out there was not hard, because I like the social media part. I like writing, I like teaching, I like educating, and I like connecting with people. I think social media is really cool because we can connect with people just like we are here, connecting with people from all over the world. But the part of like using it for business, the difficulty is that you have to be unapologetic about who you are, who you help, who you don't want to deal with. You have to have a real strong belief in what you offer people to people, whether it's your fitness service or business service, whatever it is. And then you can be like, you're welcome. Like, I'm doing this for you. You're welcome. And not like, oh, I don't know. What if I'm going to offend someone? Because ultimately, if you're doing this with a good intention and you want to help people, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to worry about. And you know what else? Imposter syndrome. I think people have it all wrong in a sense that they look at, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I'm not educated enough, maybe I'm not too old, or maybe I'm too old, or maybe I'm too young, maybe whatever. But they're looking me, like, what are people going to think of me? How am I going to be perceived? And what does this mean about me? Instead of being like, this person I'm helping, and this person I'm helping, and this person. And so when you kind of like can shift your focus from yourself to the person, potential person, or like real person who you have in front of you, who you're helping, it basically just disappears the worries and concerns about yourself, and it allows you then to focus on them, and you can listen to them, and you can develop services and offers and things that they are asking for you to develop, and not like, oh, but do I have enough experience, knowledge, and wisdom to do this? And so then you're not really like me. A lot of clients deal with this, my business clients and people who want to do things in life, because they worry about how prepared they are to deliver whatever it is that they're delivering. And it's like, people are asking of you to deliver this thing. Clearly, they see you as an authority. What the heck are you waiting for? Well, me.
And most of your clients, is it mostly female clients? Is it male clients? Is it?
Yeah, mostly it's female clients. I do fitness clients have a couple of guys, and business too. But I think, I'm really blunt, and sometimes guys just chicken out. They don't want to be talked like that.
And is it a cultural thing as well? Is it a cultural thing? I spent a lot of
I,
time
I
in,
don't I don't think I don't care. I
do
can I can coach anyone, old, young, female, male. I don't care.
you think
I think
Americans are
it's
politer? Do you think Americans are politer? Do you think that, because I spent a lot of time in Eastern Europe,
mm-hmm,
Poland for a bit, Ukraine for a
mm,
bit longer, Russia for a
mm,
bit,
mm,
and and my one of my exes was from Latvia, and
Uh-huh.
she always felt that people were kind of overly polite, and then I was like, okay, that was interesting to learn that. And then I think, I don't know if it's a British thing or maybe Americans are different, they were just too polite. And but I think sometimes um other cultures are just more honest, like
Yeah.
kind of
So
refreshing.
So I'm very straightforward, and I always laugh about this that, working with me, my clients at some point, one or another, they're gonna cry, which is true. A
But
lot of them do, but it's not because, I yell at them or I say something mean. It's because, and I think this is one of my superpowers, I don't make people wrong. So what I mean by that is, say, we work on your content. We sit down and in our session, we create 20 captions and I tell you, okay, these are the reels you're going to record and these are the kinds of videos you should have here and this is how you're going to do it. And then we meet 2 weeks later and you did nothing. You literally didn't do anything. And I'm like, okay, so what happened? And they're starting to swerve like a little warm, like, well, I don't know, because, I don't know, but I don't like how I look in the video and I was trying. And I'm like, okay, so we're talking about the same stuff again today, or like, what are we doing? And then they get so frustrated with themselves because it's not like I'm like, what the hell are you thinking? Why are you doing it? So that's one. I also don't, obviously I'm not raising my voice. I'm not, crazy. And so I just like let them sit with the discomfort of like, you wanted this, we did it, and you didn't follow through. That what? And so that part, a lot of times people just get super frustrated with themselves and they're like, what the hell am I doing? And that's where they cry, but it's not anything that comes from my make wrong or me yelling at them or me telling them that they're stupid, wrong, or lazy. It's just their own frustration with themselves and realizing like, shit, like in order to do this, I have to step out of my comfort zone and actually do something that I find difficult, but like otherwise I'm not going to do it. And I hired her to do it. Actually, I just recently had my client on the podcast and she's a property manager for Airbnbs. And she said to me that at the beginning, she so didn't want to have our sessions. She's like, oh my God, call with Monica
didn't
again.
want
So
to
now
happen, did you say?
she didn't want it. She signed up. We're already working together. She was like, oh my God, she's going to ask me why I didn't do this and about that. And now I have to do something. And I'm like, Lana, you mean you're going to have to do things in your own business, the things you said you're going to do? She's like, yeah. So she was so resisting it. But once we pass that hump, things work well. And so to answer your question, I think it's a specific type of person who resonates with me because I am very straightforward. Not unkind, but I will just say it as it is. And I like this approach. I do have a lot of Eastern European clients from Poland, from Germany, from Ukraine, from Macedonia. And then Americans who resonate with that kind of approach. People who say, I've already had coaches who were, it's okay. You don't feel like doing it. Don't do it with the fitness or life. And I can't take somebody's money if I'm doing this. It just doesn't allow me to go to bed easily at night because I would be like, why am I bullshitting the person? Excuse me. Like you hire me to give you the roadmap from point A to point B. So I am doing it. And in the process, we sometimes will bump against your resistance or against your limiting beliefs or some mindset stuff. So we'll work through this and that's that. But like, I can't just babysit someone and they pay me and then I'm babysitting them for an hour every 2 weeks because that would be so boring. And what's the point, So the politeness, again, I have folks from all over the world, but specifically with men, what I find is that when someone is the way I am, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but like successful and someone who's accomplished quite a bit, and the guy comes and they're like, I want to learn from you, and I'm like, all right, this, and that, and they kind of are in the position of like, whoa, 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 I'm going to have this younger than me chick telling me what to do. I don't like it. I literally specifically had one guy tell me that he doesn't like how I communicate and he picked someone who communicates differently. And I was like, cool, like I'm really straightforward. That's just who I am and I'm not going to change it. And it's great that you don't like how I communicate and you know this ahead of time. And that's that. But I was just really straightforward with him. He was a teacher, a gym teacher who wanted to do fitness and teach people fitness. And it was right before summer we spoke and said, if I was you, I would commit to meeting me every single week instead of every 2 weeks and really develop something by the end of summer. So by the time you go back to school, you have clients, you have something going on for yourself. And he was postponing. And I was like, listen, you don't have the business mindset. I get it. You've been a teacher for 15 or 20 years. You're on a salary. You're not used to, you have to, the fact that you have to invest, and then you have to work. And the summer is not to be just laying down on the beach. It's, if you want to have your business, you have to, shift how you're thinking. And he just didn't like it. So women, I feel like I'm very qualified in order to help them, because I see the performance gaps, when it comes to the way we are raised. Like, you should be modest, you should be
Yeah, tell me
quiet.
about that, because I when you're saying this stuff,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
I think it's Jordan Peterson. He talks about the big five, and one of them is one of the reasons why women don't get paid as much as men. He suggests is because they just
yeah,
don't ask for raises. And I'm
yes,
like,
yeah.
okay, and do you get that with your clients a lot?
Yes, 100%, 100%. It's funny. I was flying to America from Poland, and in Germany, I was talking to this guy at the airport, and he said he has 4 daughters, and he was working for one of the universities, and he was an investor, which is crazy. Like, it's insane how American universities work. But anyways, long story short, I said to him, tell your daughters to ask, because we were talking about the confidence and about doing the things that you want to do, and how you have to be bold. And if you don't ask, here's the thing. If you don't have something, you already got the no. So if you're going to ask, you might get yes, or you might get maybe, or you might get not this yes, but maybe something else. So you already have the worst case scenario. There's nothing worse that can be. So ask. And so the reason I shared it with him is previously, back in the day, I had a client whose husband was like one of the big bosses of one of the big companies in America, but there were certain rules. And she was sharing this with me. She was training with me at the gym, that the guys, young guys after college, will ask and ask and ask. And even if they're not skilled, they'll get something. And the women would work hard and hard and hard, but they never ask. And by law, the way the company was structured, he couldn't just give them the raise. They had to ask for it, but they wouldn't ask. And so he was coming home, as a good person he was, and he was sharing with his wife, who then was sharing with me, that I wish they asked, but they are not asking. I don't know what to do. Like, how can I hint at it? I can't tell them, but they don't ask. And so what I see, though, is, just like an apologetic tone, like very apologetic tone in emails, and discount giving, and just discounting their knowledge. And having a really hard time asking for what they actually want. Actually, one of my clients messaged me yesterday. She's like, I need help, because there's a client who wants to hire me for 2 different projects. But she knows that normal rate is like 20% of whatever, but I'm charging 25. So do I give her a discount? And I was like, no, why? And then she was like, also, she needs me for 2 projects. So like, do I give her the discount on both, or do I like consolidate? I'm like, dude, if you were to work with me and your husband was to work with me, it's 2 separate people. You both are paying full price. Why would you? And she was like, I already knew the answer. I just needed to hear it from you. And it's like, so I give them a lot of different ways, to work on this. So for example, when, we drive a lot here, because things are far away from each other. Not anymore now that I'm in Boston, but like when I was living in Connecticut, and many of them drive a lot. So I'm like, talk to yourself in the car when you're driving. Like, have these conversations, not like a crazy person, but like pre-train yourself prior to speaking to the client. So if you have an initiation fee of $3,000, have a pretend conversation in the car with the client and say, this is, have the whole conversation, the whole shebang, the way you would speak to the client. So you train your body, your head, your mouth, your nervous system, that this is something you say. So when you speak to the actual person, it comes out of your mouth like, yeah, there's a starting fee of $3,000. This is what it is for, da, 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 da. That's it. No big deal. But if you don't ever say it out loud, and then you see a person and you're already stressed because it's difficult for you to have that conversation, and then suddenly you have to say something you've never said before, of course you're going to chicken out. So, there's some ways to work on it. Or emails. I like to have them send me emails when they're pricing themselves for like projects or different things, so I can like run through those emails and I tell them, write like a man, speak like a man, not like, I'm just here to speak to you a little bit about my little jobby that I have, and blah, blah, blah. No,
How do
no,
they
no, no,
feel
no.
after so how do they feel after they go and do this? I'm always interested in that.
Super,
So they go and
super
do it.
empowered.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Super empowered. And it happens also when they fire difficult clients, they will message me and they will send me big emails saying like, holy moly, I cannot believe that I did this. I feel so good. I feel so empowered. It was so scary. And it develops you in the way where you have that ease when it happens again. You can deal with this kind of situation again because you've already done it before.
Yeah.
So like I always say this to people, and I see this for myself in my business, like those difficulties, difficult clients, difficult conversations, difficult whatever, are great. It's like school. It's like school of business. You deal with it and you learned it. You developed yourself. You developed strategy for it. You developed maybe some things that will prevent that from happening again. So your business got better. So like all these difficult clients, amazing. It's like school for you. So what else could you do? Learn from it or get frustrated and then go get a job. So no, I think that business is personal development on steroids because if you don't grow, your business is not going to grow. And so there's only so much growth that's possible without you learning about all the things where you need to fix yourself.
I would also actually dial it up. I don't know if you agree. I think that the sales part of it is even the biggest part. Like teaching people. Did we have a conversation? Did you comment or did I comment about like I was like I like sales. Like, I don't know if everyone wants to do things now without sales calls, and I understand why, and I obviously sometimes do, but I like sales calls. I like those situations, and I like my clients to learn the skills on those calls. And it's as much because of what it teaches them about them as people than it does around. I think if someone misses out on that, they miss out on a lot of potential, like you said, a lot of potential for growth. Like
100%.
And I think that especially when you're selling premium stuff, because my clients will be like a little bit like you said, and then the first time they get a yes, it's just like what the hell that just happened.
Do you teach them, Tim, specifically how you want them to do the process, or is it just like they develop their own ways of doing the sales calls?
I don't know if this is the opposite way round to other people. I
have no clue what other people do, so I'm just gonna listen.
Some of the sales trainings that I've seen that I don't think is great is things like they start off with the script and they just get someone to do that, and I'm like, I understand that the words are important and the order of the words and what you say, but for me, I think the way that you say things and the way that you create an environment on that call is at least as important. So I don't like them having a script. I think it's a real, but I know they get structure. But I know they want one, but I'm like, just shut up and learn to sit in silence. And they can't do that. They're so uncomfortable. I did a podcast actually with one of my clients from about 5 years ago. And it was really good because I cut a bit out and I brought it to one of the group calls. Because he was like, can I tell you about when you sold to me? And I was just cracking up. And I was like, yeah, go on. He goes, it was like, you told me the money, how much it was, and you just didn't say anything. And he was like, and he was acting out. He was going, I was just looking at, and I was like, I just didn't know how I was going to do it. And he goes, it was like the longest 10 minutes of my life. And I was just cracking up because I'm basically telling my clients, when you get to the close, just shut up. Don't say anything. Yeah. Silence is as important as the words you say. And they find that really hard to do because I'm like, just be quiet. Like, don't say anything. Like, let the space do the work because they will say it first. So I like that style of teaching sales. Some people love it, some people don't. And then I like the words and the structure afterwards. Not the structure because I give them a bit, but I like these are the really good sales questions, but I like putting them in after. It's like most of my clients, their first sales will come from people that kind of know who they are.
Yeah.
And it's much easier to practice there. Like I'm not saying that everyone's going to buy, they're not, but it's much easier to practice there. And so I love sales. I probably just teach sales all the time. And so I know business a bit more nowadays is moving towards, it's much harder to get people on sales calls than it used to be. Much harder. But I think the value in it, like you said, the personal growth, like I'm just teaching them. I don't know if it's, that part of it, I think some of the female clients don't find it necessarily harder. Like, I think the way you listen to people on sales calls is as important as what you say. And I think generally women tend to be better at actually listening and not butting in and
Hmm.
to say something. So I find that some of my female clients, especially when they first start selling, I think
Hmm.
my clients over, time, they more likely hit a ceiling where it starts to
Mm.
get a bit uncomfortable. Whereas at the beginning, I think they're much better at it because I'm like, just bloody listen. You don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
your thoughts?
I love getting on calls with people for a variety of reasons. One of them being content, actually. So the more you listen to what people are saying, then you can create content that will literally speak to their brain,
Yeah.
to the thoughts that they have about themselves, to the thoughts that they have about their bodies, to the thoughts that they have. And so then they're going to be like, it feels like you're talking directly to what I'm thinking in my head. Oh, yes, I am. And so that's the calls are such a great opportunity to collect things for content, because there's educating where we obviously have the knowledge. There is belief shifting where we need their stuff. We need to see what it is that they think, they believe, they tell themselves so that we can use our knowledge to show them that there's a different way. And so that I love. Also, I do like to, even though, with my fitness memberships, technically I don't speak to them on a daily basis in the sense of like, you can be anyone, but I do like to know who I have there. And I like to know that they are on the same page and they get along with, they're going to be a good client long term. So to me, to get on calls with people is very valuable because it allows me to, again, get to know them, get to know what they're dealing with, and kind of get a understanding of what it is that hasn't worked for them in the past so that I can direct them towards what I have, or in the past, so I could develop something that would help people with the issue that they have. And so I feel like now, because it's been 6 years that I moved online full time, because, I had a gym job. First, I worked for a private owner for a year. Then I worked for this big gym here in Boston, only women. Then I moved to Connecticut and I had 1 year I worked with elderly. So literally like 65 to 90. That was interesting. The same principles, but like much slower. Then I had the fitness studio for 3 years. And I always had clients online from like 2011, 2012, but the old school way of like typing up programs and emailing back and forth. And then 6 years fully online. And I feel like, it's different because we're not seeing each other in person. It's not like at the gym, right? And so that part is different. So to keep the aspect of, they know who I am, I know who they are, and given, I'm sure you've seen, I run my sessions, the fitness sessions, I run in a group setting on Zoom. So everyone is muted. So I'm not only training everyone, but I'm also kind of a stand-up comedy person here. And I need to know their dog's name and I need to know what's going on. And so basically I have to entertain them for the whole hour. Also, as I train them, and also as I correct their form and keep the pace and make sure everyone is good. So I love the calls because I want to know who I work with. I want to know how to speak to people like them and also to pre-qualify them, because if someone is not my person, I don't want them. That's the truth too. If someone is like expecting something I don't have, or, there's red flag after red flag, I'll tell them I'm not the person for you. I don't have what you're looking for. And I teach my clients to do the same, the business clients, because there's nothing worse than on board someone who you, A, don't get along with, or two, who's going to be a pain in the butt for you forever.
When we
So,
when we built a sales team, one thing that I noticed, and I didn't notice it straight away, and
mm,
this isn't a criticism of the people that were selling for us. If you're going to reward them for converting,
mm,
human nature is they're going to convert. Whereas for me,
yeah,
it's not just the single reward of converting. It's I'll not if I just don't think it's right, I just won't make an offer. And what I noticed is when
yeah,
we actually started having a team, I was still selling the whole way through. There was a lot of people that were really bad fits that were bought in by other sales
yeah,
people, and like especially at the time when it was like the sort of super high ticket, like I don't like the idea of someone paying like $9,000 and then just being a mile away from. I don't
yeah,
think I have the full knowledge to know this person can definitely do it and this person definitely can't, but I've got a good idea, Like, as long
Yeah.
as I think that there's a fair chance they could, whereas there'll be some people on those calls where I was like, there is no chance these people would be able to do that. And
Yeah.
what happened with some of our sales guys is that they didn't really give a shit, or either they didn't give a shit, they wanted the money, or they didn't actually know, they hadn't had enough experience of knowing
Right.
when to push someone away, when
Mm.
this is, and then when they got sold into the program, they went and worked with our coaches, and then we'd have like not complaints from our coaches, but like it was just not the right people. And then the coaches had this ball ache of someone who's been overly persuaded to buy something that's way out of their realms of competence.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute nightmare for them. So I think that I learned a lot there with how not to do things
Yeah.
with sales. But I still, have you read this?
No. Mm-mm. I
This
got lots of books over there, but not this one.
this is so what when you said how do I sell? Like I definitely learned like just consultative selling, which is what the majority of people were doing. And here this guy in here says you want to do the opposite. You want to challenge people very early on in the process and not just agree with everything they say and actually like consciously challenge them on a sales call and go, yeah, that's not the case. And they're just like, look at you like that. And I'm like, so I brought a little bit of that in, but it takes a bit of confidence for my guys to just be able to go, yeah, that's not true. And then the prospect's just like, what? Like, so this
Yeah.
is really interesting, actually. This is really interesting.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out. It's funny because a lot of times when you're dealing with women in their 40s, they have certain beliefs when it comes to their bodies and how to work out and all this. And I often will say like, well, actually, that's not right. That's not it. And I'm glad myself being 43 now that I'm like, all right, I'm finally here. So I can be like, yeah, no, nothing happens after you turn 40. Literally nothing happens unless, of course, you've neglected yourself for years and years and years and you're continuing to neglect yourself. Then, of course, something happens. But otherwise, not really. Or, all these beliefs of like, oh, I can do Pilates and yoga and bar, but I can't lift weights because, I'm too old for it or whatever. I oftentimes will be like, no, that's not the case. Or that's actually really funny. I just recently had a new client and she was like a year or two older than me, the same height, 5'8", which is 172 centimeters. And she weighed about a pound more than me. And so we're talking, and so she didn't know my stats, but she's telling me about all this. And she's like, so I was like, so what are you working on? And she goes, well, I need to lose like 20 pounds. And I was like, what? If you wanted me to lose 20 pounds, you have to cut my leg off. But okay. And I was like, all right, so what have you been doing? She's telling me all these things. And I'm like, all right, so what kind of look are you going for? Well, I want to look like you, Monica. Ideally, this is like, would be really great. And I said, how much do you think I weigh? She goes, well, I'm 130, maybe 135. I don't know really in pounds how much that is, in kilograms how much that is. But anyways, I was like, do you want me to tell you the truth? She was like, yeah. And I started laughing. I said, listen, I'm a pound lighter than you. I'm 151, you have 152. She's like, no, but I have a stomach and this. And I'm like, no, really, I have a scale. I can show you exactly. And so, shifting their beliefs in real time and making them realize that you actually have no idea what you're doing, even though you're so diligent, you're so committed, but like you're working at a complete, it's like you're driving from Boston to New York, but your direction's Chicago. You're not going to get there. You're driving and driving and driving, and somehow you're not any closer. It's like, yeah, because you're driving in the wrong direction. Weight loss should never be your goal. And so she was mind blown. And that's kind of, that's why the calls are great. But again, I love doing the calls because you can hear firsthand from people. Because, when you're doing something for a long time, you might kind of forget what it is that people are dealing with. You might kind of forget what it is that they're struggling with. And also, as years go by, we're dealing with different things. There is Peloton and then there is COVID and there is something else. And so new times bring new challenges or new obstacles, or people are aging or they have kids or the kids are this age or that age. And so then you listen to them and you get to really understand what they're dealing with and then speak directly to them in what you're saying on the stories, in what you're saying in writing, in what you're saying on your reels, or emails. And so then it really resonates, because when it comes from your own head, it doesn't always resonate, because, in your head, you got different things than they do. So this is, again, back to the calls. Love that so much. Yeah, even when you're busy, or even when and if it's not the right person, you could just be like, listen, I don't have what you're looking for, and that's it, and wrap it up. But even when you're busy, I like to do it myself. Maybe it's the control freak in me, but I think there's two things. I want to work with my clients, current clients, of course, and I want to create content for the future people and speak to the future people. Those are the two things. Everything else is outsourced. Scheduling, recapping of the sessions, podcasts, and sending emails and everything. But content, the work with current people and the future people, I do myself. Those are the two things I do in my business, because that's the way in which it can stay authentic to me. I can't imagine, and I see this left and right, when people are like, oh, I want someone else to do my content. But how? How is...
I had a conversation with someone the other day on LinkedIn, and he was just like, I was like, "This is just not possible." Like and he's like, "I want to just outsource it," and I'm like, "You don't have enough money." And I actually said to him, I was like, "You don't have enough money, to be honest, to be able to do that, because someone who's any, you're going to be paying like 2,000-3,000 a month at least, and to be honest, they won't be that good." And he was all like, "I'm not spending that." I was like, "I'm just telling you, I was giving you some advice, man. Like, I don't think you like." Who was I speaking to? I was speaking to a guy called Ash Burley, and no, and he.
Oh yeah, PTD folks. Yeah, totally.
And he was like the because of AI now, like personal brand is just even more important. And like I think he's got lots of clients. And I was like, I agree with him, because AI now is just going to be, and I keep telling my clients, I'm like, you got to get out, you've got to do more content, more quality content, not just random stuff, because you need to be a personal brand. And a lot of my clients brand new online. They've not been doing it. I generally don't work with people that have been online for like 7 years. I prefer taking people that have been in the gym for a while and haven't made the move successfully. So to them, they're often a bit nervous. They're a little bit older. So they're not internet savvy, but just not marketing.
Social media, yeah.
Just start doing videos. Like, you make them look pretty later. And because of AI, I think that like if you don't have a personal brand, pretty soon it's going to be very difficult.
You know what? There's two things. AI is super helpful when it comes to cleaning up the captions and helping you with stuff. But I yell at my clients who just blindly copy and paste, and it's so crazy, because you can see like, oh, you're not, lazy, you just need a plan, or you're not. I just
journalist who wrote for a living
drives me nuts. I'm like, this is ChatGPT. This is horrible. And I literally spoke to all the girls, and I said, we could create the same title, and it could be applicable to my fitness training, my business coaching, to the professional organizer person, to the client who's a health coach, to the client who's a hypnotist. It's, you just need structure and clarity, and I can help you with it. Like, this means nothing. It means nothing. Everyone could say the same thing to their completely different business. You're overwhelmed and stressed and you don't know what to do. I will give you structure and clarity. Okay, great. But like, what actually is going to happen? And what do they really say to themselves? I'm overwhelmed and I'm spinning. That's another thing that ChatGPT always says. So I love it for the help that it can give us. But ultimately, if you're just blindly copying and pasting from AI, you just sound like AI. That's it. And it's kind of scary, because maybe 2 years ago when we first started using it, people didn't use it to that extent. So maybe some other folks didn't know that this was AI, but now it's just so bad. And so I will often use it, but then like fix everything up. Or I yell at my ChatGPT saying like, use my words. I never say someone is spinning, or, you're working out so hard, but your body isn't shifting. I'm like, body is shifting. In what world? This is even a sentence. Or all these like negations, you're not lazy. You just need a plan. You're not stupid. You just need a coach. And it's like, okay, no one is thinking I'm not lazy. Say what they think, say what's going on in their mind, say exactly what's happening. And to my client, for example, who's a professional organizer, I was like, I'm going to provide you with structure and clarity, blah, 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 blah. Not like that. It is so funny. Lufthansa is landing. I came back from Poland on Monday with that specific plane, literally 2:42 p.m. Boom.
The airport.
It's going down. Yeah, I wish I could. I don't even know how to shift it, but yeah, on the other side, I literally have, if you see the airport, and it's literally Lufthansa landing from Germany. So I love living here. It's so nice. Boston's my favorite. Although, you know what? I have one goal to visit the English Boston because I've never been, and I love this American Boston.
Have
So
you,
have you ever been?
have you been? You must have been to England though, right?
Yes, but not to England, Boston, English Boston.
I'm not sure if it's as impressive as Boston. You do.
I just would want to see, the OG Boston.
I think you're going to be underwhelmed, by the way, if you do go there.
Really? Where I have no clue where it
In
even
the
is. That's
Midlands.
so bad.
In the
That's so bad to even admit, but this Boston is pretty cool, so I want to see the real Boston
So
too. So,
why did you, I'm going to change subject. Why did you why did you move from Poland to America? Because that's a big move, especially, I don't know, maybe this is wrong, you tell me. Maybe now people do that more
uh-huh.
often. Like back then, was it done as
No,
much?
not really. Not really. I feel like now people go around Europe because it's easier. It's really hard to make things work here these days. Um, so I was 21 and I was studying Polish philology and journalism, and um, it was something where I kind of had this idea that if I stay, like I was clear that if I stay, my life is very predictable. Like I knew exactly how it's going to go. Okay, I'm going to go to university, I'm going to graduate, then I'm going to meet someone, I'm going to get married, I'm going to have kids. And by 30, you're just kind of like living the life through the family. Nothing wrong with that, but I just was like, that's so depressing. Like there's such little variables here. Okay, who I'm marrying and how the kids are going to turn out and where I'm going to live, but I'm not going to live too far. I'm going to live close by. So I came here, and originally was the idea, I was an au pair, I was a nanny. There was a cultural exchange thing, and it was just for 1 year that I was supposed to come, and 13 months to be specific. And my parents were like, we're giving you 2 months, you're going to be back. And actually, on purpose, I came to America and not to England because I knew that if I'm going to hate it in England, I'm going to just come back and it's going to be easy. But I knew that if I'm here, it's too far. It's too difficult to come back. So like I gave myself this insurance of like, you cannot freaking chicken out. So that was that. And then I come and it sucked. It was so bad because the family was taking advantage of me so badly. My English skills were not even enough to say to them like, hey, you're taking advantage of me. I was just like, I was supposed to be able to go to school, to do English classes. I couldn't. Basically 3-year-olds were teaching me English. I remember they were, oh, this is funny because you say it differently. Squirrel, squirrel. And I was like, squirrel, what? What? There's so many squirrels in Boston. And so the 3-year-olds were teaching me, and it was such a hard, thankless job. I was watching 2 3-year-olds and a 5-year-old. It was so much work, and it was so not what the, program was portraying it to be. But I loved the freedom, and I was like, oh, I could do this and I could do that. And I met friends right away. And I knew that I'm going to be here for a short time. So I decided to not surround myself with Polish people. So I had Brazilian friends and German friends. And so we had to all speak our broken English all together. And then, I switched to family. So for 5 or 6 months, I worked for the first family. And then at the park, I met another woman who was like, hey, we have an au pair from Germany, and she is leaving in a couple of months, but I am pregnant and I'm going to have another kid. So would you want to have the baby for a couple of months? And then when the other girl leaves, you're going to have all of them and you stay with us for like a year and a half. And I was like, oh my God, that would be great. So I did that, and I was able to go to school, and I was going to Harvard Extension for different classes of English. Like they had like communication in business and this and that. And it was really cool because it was like business people from all over the world who needed to learn like professional business English. Because at that point I was there already for like a year. So I was like, all right, I got the basics. And so, then I ended up going to community college to study communications again, just to be legal. Like it was just in order to have a legal status. So I went to college and I studied for 2 years, and then I discovered fitness. And so it was never a decision of like, I'm going to move to America to have American dream or something. No, it was just, I'm going to learn English. And then one thing led to another. And I loved the freedom of like, I want to go to Harvard Extension. Okay, great. Apply and go. And no one is like, oh, who do you think you are to go there? Or I want to hire a personal trainer. Great. And it's like 2008. And everyone's like, personal trainers are for celebrities, not for regular people. Well, I want a personal trainer. And then, oh, I'm going to go to personal training school. And so there was no one here to tell you like, that's not what you do, or this is not, how things should be. I was just deciding for myself and I loved it. And it was really, 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 really difficult for a very long time because of immigration and money. And like my parents didn't support me at all, which is kind of a funny story because they literally did not
Why
want me
did
to
they
be
not
here.
support you?
They didn't want me to be here. They completely were like, come back to Europe, we'll pay for your studies, come anywhere here, we'll
Because they were
support you, but
worried,
not.
or like they.
I think they were just like, they had an idea, for how they wanted my life to look like. And I did everything opposite. Everything, like from immigrating to not being married to not having kids, all of it. I did everything like the opposite way. And it's funny because, now they see that I'm like happy and fulfilled and I travel all the time and see them. But like, think that there's still like a grain of like, oh, but if you stayed, you could have had a nice life here, which I don't care about it now. I'm 43. I'm too old to be trying to impress them. But yeah, I'm not trying to impress them anymore. But the thing with that is I really love all the struggles because they made me who I am. And, I always say this to people, and people who don't have money might resist hearing this. But the truth is that more money doesn't make you a different person. It just makes you more of who you are. It doesn't really change you at the core. Like whether I was walking to work because I didn't have a car or I was driving the G-Wagon or a Porsche, it doesn't matter. I'm still the same person. Sure, if you can't pay your basic bills like food or rent, it's stressful and it puts a strain on you. But like when you can pay your living, you pay your rent or your mortgage or you pay your food, and like that's that. It doesn't really change much whether you shop at this store or that store, or whether you're driving a basic car or a fancy car. Like you are who you are, and the money doesn't really change you much. So like looking back at the old days of like the struggle was real. I didn't have $3 to buy coffee. Like I smile now because it's like, yeah, I sucked it up and I did what I needed to do. But I also don't feel ever, because of that, I don't ever feel like defined by the things. I actually live very minimalistic. I have very few things. I have especially after I left Connecticut, I moved back to Boston. I downsized so much. I have my dog. I have my car. I have a bookshelf with books, a bed, side table, closet with clothes, and that's it. I could pack everything in the car and just go. I could literally pack 2 suitcases and take my dog and like move anywhere because I don't really surround myself with a lot of stuff. I like good food. I like good people, and I like, sleeping in, good quality of life, traveling business class and that kind of stuff. But I don't really buy expensive bags, clothes or anything because I think it's pointless. So to wrap it up, why I moved to America, just to do something different, not predictable, not to have the kind of life that I knew I'm gonna have if I stay. And I sure did create everything my own way, from the work through the lifestyle and everything in between. Um, and again, like kind of against my parents, if you will, but I don't care.
Do you have
I teach my
relationships with people that from back home, like that you grew up with? Like, would you still have conversations with people that, for instance, you went to school with, or is that just like, is it
you know
a
what?
different world?
I think that a lot of folks from my generation, so I was born in 1983, we grew up in like the last sliver of communism, and then in 89 it ended. And I think a lot of us did these like different things. So I do have few friends who are either on television, or people from high school or from college who are on television, or who are actors, or who immigrated and who are doing cool things. Because I feel like we were the first generation of kids in Poland who could. And I think that could be also a part of the reason why particularly my parents are, or were, or still are, kind of sour about the fact that I chose to immigrate, because, we had so many more opportunities in comparison to them. And yet I chose not to take them, and I chose to leave. So there are so many things that I could do that they couldn't do within the country. And they kind of like did the best they could with what they had. And I was like, ciao, I'm out of here. So that was a part where I feel like and it's not even like the patriotic thing, but more like the comparison of like, you have all these choices and you don't want any of this. We didn't have these choices, and we had to settle on like the best, whatever this was. And so, but I say, you see, world is such a small place now. It's such a small, I was just talking to my brother.
Reasonable amount, right?
Yeah, I go to Poland all the time and just in Europe in general. And I have clients from all over the place. And I was just talking to my brother who is in Poland. He works and he was telling me how, the war that we have now, or one of the wars that we have now because of our president, is impacting his clients in Poland and the clients with whom he does business in Italy, but he lives in Poland. And because of some containers of stuff that's sent to Dubai, and like that's the thing, like world is such a small place. And so I'm so glad that I left because if I want to live in Poland now, I could. But like, having not one point of view, I think it's key in life, because it's like I have clients from Lebanon and I have clients from Kuwait and I have clients from Latin America. Samuel, my assistant, lives in Colombia. My family's in Poland. I have friends in Germany. I have friends in England. World, again, is a small, small place. And of course, there's a different reality of life, different places, different things we're dealing with. But for the most part, it's so cool that we get to do what we do online, working and helping people, and it's
I
just the
still have
coolest thing
people,
ever.
I still have people there, like when I actually say like, no, I just work on the internet. And they're just like, what? That's it. And it's obviously it's getting more and more common, and it has been
Yeah.
for ages.
Mm-hmm.
But when they get their head around
Mm.
it, it's like that's mental. Like I still like,
Yeah.
compared to being in the gym.
Yeah.
Um,
But even in the gym, I mean, when I first became a trainer, my parents were like, "So you're like a PE teacher, or what's the deal?"
Fitness trainer or
And
like
yeah,
a menial job.
yeah, yeah, yeah. For the longest, they were like, "When are you going to have a real job? Like, what's the deal here? Like, when are you going to?" And I remember one year, I think it was 2012, being like, "These are my tax papers. This is how much money I make, more than all of you combined. Thank you very much." And then they were like, "You should be modest. You don't brag about this." And I was like, "Guys, I'm talking to you. You are my parents. I'm not gonna be. I'm telling you this so that you know that I'm okay. Like, I don't need a real job." And so that was that. And then I mean, I think, the fact that we get to work online is so awesome because, again, you can travel anywhere, you can work with people from anywhere. Do you do anything in person with your clients or everything happens online
I
with your business clients?
I went for a period of going to see. To be honest, I would charge them, and if they paid up front, I would go and do like a couple of days coaching in person with them. And it was
Mm-hmm.
sort of my slightly more traveling years.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, it was a bit dumb. Like I would get to
Yeah.
go to like Seattle for 2 days, and then I'm in
Whoa.
Seattle, so I might as well just go to Vegas for 2 days. And like, I've been to loads of places in America. Financially, it wasn't particularly smart because one, it was a
Yeah.
chunk of cash over 6 months. Like it ate into it, but I kind of treated it as like traveling holiday.
For sure.
I used to love doing it. I did some when I lived in Malta. People would come to me.
Yeah.
I haven't done it for a while. I'm figuring out where I'm gonna go and live next. So it depends on where I end up. I don't think any of them are going to be close enough for people to come to me. So I really
Gotcha.
like doing. Actually, I was listening to Daniel Priestley. One thing that he said that really did resonate, though, he was like, the future is going to be people that do online, but they have an in person community, and he's like,
Yeah.
that's going to be really important. And it got me thinking, like we used to
Yeah.
do retreats, and they were really good, like really enjoyable. We organised one when we had probably the biggest amount of clients, and we organised because I lived in Malta, and I think we might have got like 20 of our clients in the
Wow.
same room for like a week, and all of them were people had booked flights from Seattle, from
That's
Canada,
awesome.
and then COVID happened,
Oh, yeah.
and so
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone had to cancel. And it was like we did one in the UK, but it wasn't the same. That would have been so much fun. I do think that doing stuff in person though is going to become more important. So I don't at the
Totally.
moment, but do you
Yeah.
see your clients locally, right?
So I see people all on Zoom. However, one of the reasons why I ended up coming back to Boston from Connecticut, because Connecticut's, 2 hours from Boston and 2 hours between Boston and New York. And so technically it sounds like close by, but practically not a way to be. And so I moved here and people come here all the time. I'm in like the trendiest, fanciest part of Boston. And so I do have, I obviously live in an apartment, but downstairs I have a whole bunch of amenities, including the gym and including like a bunch of meeting rooms. And so the business clients do come, if they choose so, for our sessions, they can do it on Zoom or they can come in person. And I don't charge them any different than on Zoom because it's just the normal hour of our meeting or 2 hours if they choose to book 2 sessions back to back. But it's hugely impactful, just even one-on-one, just to be around and to be in the energy and to actually speak to them. It's super impactful. And I actually thought about this myself too. People ask for retreats, but my clients are asking for fitness retreats. So that's kind of like, I still do it. Fitness, I can do in my sleep, and I will continue doing it because the way I set it up, as in, I have PTD and I set their training programs once a month. Well, actually, I already have them set up for the whole year. I just toggle different things for the new month. So that's it. And then Sam schedules it. So it takes, 20 minutes of my time. And then all the sessions that I run live happen at set times. So we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at noon. And then we have Saturday at 9. So it's literally 7 hours of my time per week to run the fitness memberships. So it doesn't require any more of that. So I'll continue doing it. But doing a fitness retreat, I'm like, I probably would feel so burnt out, because imagine being with people for maybe not 7 days straight, but few days straight, nonstop. There's no shutting it off. It's like going back to personal training at the gym where you are around people all day, every day. So it's extremely tiring. So to make this profitable, it would have to be some massive money. It would be great for content. It would be great for social proof. So there's that. But the business, I'm sure that would be cool to do. But see, my business clients are all very different, from a property manager to a hypnosis provider to
Do you work with
professional.
pros? Do you get lots of them reach out and ask to speak, or is it just not your thing?
Fitness trainers.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That too. That's how it started. Fitness trainers also. I've had a fair share of fitness trainers, and at the beginning, that's what I was doing exclusively. They were like, "Okay, teach me how to do it online." But then, from my fitness memberships, people came and said, "Listen, I'm a professional organizer. Can you help me organize my business in the back end?" Or I have a cleaning business. Can you help me organize all of that? Or I'm a photographer, or I'm a bookkeeper, or who else did I have throughout the years? I mean, a variety of different business solopreneurs. One person businesses, maybe with an assistant, who are doing all the things, but they're drowning. Either they have clients and a lot of income, but it's all mess and they're running on empty, or they're maxed out in one way or another. And so then we just organize it, raise their prices, organize, things in the back end. So then they have room for, and content is huge, because I think it's such an integral part of running a business, and people put it on the back burner because they think, they don't need to do it. But honestly, that's the biggest, if not, I think it's more important than working with your current clients, because you can work with your current clients, but if you're not going to do the lead gen and you're not doing content, those clients are going to drop off and you're going to stay with nothing. So that is equally, if not more important than working with your current clients. So content is huge, but people don't do content because they're like, "Oh, I'm running late with invoices and people are not paying me because I didn't send them an invoice or proposals, or I can't follow up with people." So all of that, we streamline and organize it. So trainers too, but not exclusively trainers. And again, it starts out with clients who work with me in fitness who do something else. And then they're like, "How do you have this so organized? You have a, questionnaire for this, and you have a link for that, and you have the emails, and you have the podcast, and you have all this content." And I'm extremely creative. So I could post content all day long, nonstop. I'm joking online that I need more clients for content specifically, because I have in Body by Monika, my BBM Instagram, I have 20 drafts. In my Monika Instagram, where I do the business, I have 20 drafts. I have so many videos. I cannot keep up posting all this
I
stuff.
saw a post of yours and there was some viral stuff that went on. Was that what you had, millions of views on some posts?
Oh yeah, I've had some of those, but those really are failing strategy, because then they will bring a ton of people and just so much fighting and arguing. Actually, just last week, maybe not even a week ago, I posted a piece of content when I was in Poland, and it's probably 150,000 views now, and people are fighting in the comments. And it's just, the truth is that polarizing content is the one that goes viral the most. And the strategy for it is you should fight with the people, well, not fight, but like provoke them in the comments so they write more, because it continues going viral. But I'm just like, I'm too old for this. I don't care. I don't really care to start to fight with people in the comments. But that's what it is. I like the kind of content where you have a couple thousand views, where people can see your stuff, but it's not that it's going to be
I
going
think
crazy
that's a really good
viral.
sweet spot. It's like
Yeah.
this drive to want
Yeah.
to go viral is just, it doesn't actually do anything.
No, you don't have to go viral at all. In fact, a lot of times when it happens, it's the wrong people who join your
Yeah,
account,
sure.
and so then you have to spend time deleting them, and then and it's just, the biggest thing with content for me personally, and this is what I teach my clients, is to just be consistent and post one a day or two a day or three a day, so that you don't have that pressure of like, oh, this better go viral. Like, I don't care. You just post one and another one and another one, and the volume accumulates. I was looking at, I have two accounts on Instagram. Again, the Monika one, which is Monika Imazur, and this one is for business and for life coaching. And that one has like 15.4K followers. And my fitness one doesn't even have 10,000 people there. And they are different, because on the fitness one, I had few viral reels. So they're not exactly the same audiences. And when it comes to the views within the last 30 days, how you have that like little note of like how many people's viewed your account or reach, whatever it is, they're very similar, even though this one is almost twice the size. 200,000, and then the other one is 200,000 too. Why? Because the amount of content you post. So it's not that, everything has to be viral. It's just post and post and post and post and post and post, and don't stop yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect. And the more you do it, the better it gets. It's like with exercise. The more you do it, the better it gets.
What?
Do you teach people to use Facebook for business or Instagram, or is it email or something else?
That's why I was like, my female clients, there's a good few of them, I'm like, go and see these people. There's a few people, and I was like, go and see this person. She does it really well. I'm not great. I tell you what, I did notice that I noticed that I'd stopped doing much content. Like, I noticed that I'd stopped. We used to have a Facebook group, and like we ran ads to it. It got quite big, and lots of people in, and I would probably put content in there when it was just me 3 times a week, and then at some point the team would do it, and so we had somewhere to do it in. And I would just do, like, I mean, if you sometimes I stumble across some of the lives that I used to do, and they are terrible.
Oh, lives.
The quality of the phone, like, it's really bad. But I think 7 years ago you could kind of get away with
Right.
it. And then I just realized that I hadn't been doing content, just daily content. I'd write a reasonable amount and I'd send emails, but just not doing videos. So I started doing it a lot more, but it's not something that I'm like really. We had a branded guy called Josh, and he's obviously, it's his job. He's just so creative, and it's so awesome. And I'm just don't have that creative
So,
eye.
so tell me, Tim, where are your clients coming from? Is it emails? Is
Yeah, we've
it
got a big email list, so still a big email list. I mean, it's not that I don't get clients off social media. I'm not like I tend to use LinkedIn more, and I tend to use Facebook more.
Gotcha.
But
Oh, gotcha. LinkedIn and Facebook.
partly because I think that to win on Insta, you need to be reasonably creative, or have
Yeah.
someone who has creativity help you. So, but I did notice that I wasn't doing that much content. So I'm doing a lot more recently, and I
Yeah.
even noticed, like, when I'm not doing business content, like, it gets so many more views. I've known this for years. I just haven't really been doing it as much. So my clients are getting it in, like, go and start doing reels, like, because I know how important it is. Do just even stories. I think I saw some of your stuff, and you were like, start with stories because it's
Yeah.
just easier. And I was like,
Yeah.
I also, because of my, not just my avatar, but because when we COVID, we did position towards people that had been in the industry for maybe 2 or 3 years, but we weren't like hardcore on it. And we would have people that had just started or even were new to the industry. I was very like, this is going to be harder for you. But now it's like 5 years minimum. And so if they've
Mm,
been in the industry for 5 years, the likelihood is, well, they're a bit older. Like I'm generally like
yeah.
35 plus, but most of my clients are now fitness professionals that are in their 40s. And so they're not always the most creative. But I also think for their avatar, they don't need to be overly polished. Like because
No, not at all. No, you're going to be also too intimidating for that. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to be too intimidating. Like back in the day when I was doing bodybuilding, um, for some people it's just too intimidating. And also they will be like, I don't want to look like that. So it's too much. Therefore, I personally tell my clients, and what I do myself is I do all my content myself. I've never had a professional crew, makeup done or anything like that. And going by that also, when I do photo shoots, if I ever do photo shoots, and usually, those pictures are for the website and things like that, not so much for social media because videos do better. I always wear my normal clothes. I don't have like a, stylist or anything like that. I don't have a makeup artist. It's all the same stuff where I live, where I go, how I look like on daily basis, nothing else. Because that, consistency also creates trust, because imagine someone comes to your Facebook or Instagram and you have beautiful photos where your hair is curly and you have makeup on and lashes and you look amazing, and then they look on the story and you're wearing sweatpants and you have no makeup on and your hair is in disarray, and it's like, wait a minute. So that discrepancy creates, like it just kind of like, it's like a scratch in the trust, because it's like, oh, who's this person, why is this so polished and why is this so not polished? So you're better off being somewhere in the middle where your normal self is. And so, working with women, I know that they will feel better when they take care of themselves. They put them, as I call it, they put themselves together for the day. So do something with the hair, do something with the makeup, put clothes on that you feel good, and train. If you're a business owner, train and eat a certain way. So you're feeling good with yourself. So then you're more inclined to show up on camera because, yeah, camera is unapologetic. Will show you that you have this, that, and the other. And clients are like, oh my God, I hate my teeth and I had this and had, okay, great. So take care of it. And how I do content is I do it every single day, however I feel like it. So I was just in Poland, and the gym at the hotel is beautiful and it has such a good lighting, and no one is ever there. So I purposely booked to stay there so that I can record content there. And so one day I was not in a chatty mood, so I recorded a bunch of exercise videos. I have them on my phone. The next day I was in a very chatty mood, so I just literally sat down on the bench after my workout. It was from far away, so you can't see that I'm sweaty. And I'm going to post those for weeks to come. And in the mirror, I held the camera, and in the mirror, I recorded a bunch of talking videos about, bodybuilding and about the mistakes that people are making. For example, working on their trouble areas, but they're neglecting other stuff. And it's just me talking to the mirror, to the mirror of my phone. And so there's plenty of space to put the text on and things like that. So I kind of teach my clients that, if you feel good today and you look nice and you feel chatty, great, record some videos talking. If you feeling, I'm not in my best today, put the phone far away and record yourself doing something. If you're a professional organizer, record yourself doing something. If you're a trainer, put it down and record a session with a client. When I had my fitness studio, I would record sessions. It was like reality TV from my studio. Like every client would leave and they would have 5 to 7 stories of like just them exercising. Of course, I would do the good angles so no one felt gross or bad or something. It would be like, look at your butt, look at this, look at that. So they felt good and they shared it on their story. So in that case, I love social media because it creates community for you. So you're sharing your client, they share it on their stories, and now you have access to their audience. Especially business owners understand the benefit of that. So with content, my method is you're going to have to take care of yourself, because when you fix yourself up for the day, you will be more likely to record something every single day, so that you don't have to have like a content day, because that's too much pressure. If I have to get dressed today and I don't know, Friday is going to be content day, I don't want to do it. What if I woke up on the wrong side of the bed and I don't want to do it today? But you know what? I will habit stack it for myself. For example, when I have lunch, every single day I have to record something. So I literally sit down at like on the island and I'm eating lunch, and every single day, whether I'm talking about fitness, whether I'm talking about food, whether I'm talking about business, there's got to be 3 to 5 videos that I will record talking, and it's minute long, so not more. And sometimes I crop them and make them shorter, but not more than a minute, to not get distracted and to get people very specific something. So that's like, that must be. And when I'm exercising, when I go downstairs to the gym to exercise, or when I travel and I have that access to that gym, always also record videos. So I have a bunch of rolls of videos of exercising and talking videos and doing things, when I go outside with the dog and stuff. So then you have the ingredients, you have the conversations with clients where you know what they're struggling with, and you can put it through ChatGPT, be like, all right, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, create me pieces of content for this person who's having these concerns here. Obviously there's many more prompts that we can give it, but like you have the captions, you have the videos. And then I just kind of like, all right, so the last video was me talking, so the next one will be me exercising and there's some like advice. And the next one will be a client testimonial in a form of podcast. And the next one will be, I don't know, some like 3 things from bodybuilding that you should do.
And so content.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Everyone likes it as much as you, or do you find clients just...
No, people hate it. People hate it. People hate it. People hate it because it's like a magnifying glass. 1, it shows them that they have a hard time being authentic. 2, it shows them all the things they don't like. Oh, my belly and my butt and my something. 3, it shows them that they oftentimes cannot communicate clearly who they're helping, what they're helping with, and like really with conviction be like, boom, 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 boom. It just exposes everything. It exposes everything. But to me, the fun lies in the fact that, like, again, it's kind of like asking for something. If you don't do it, you have the no. You're living in the no. You don't have the client. You don't have the personal development that comes from doing it. You don't have anything. And once you start doing it, even if it's crooked, as I say it will be better than nothing. I have a client who started posting on TikTok a while back, and she goes, the videos, just like you're saying, from 7 years ago, yours, but hers from like 2 years ago, she goes, they were so bad. And she had someone book a session, and the hypnosis session, like the one session is like a whole, I don't know, 5 hours, $500, something like that. It's like a big commitment. And she goes, this lady said that she's watched all my content on TikTok from the past. And she's like, it was so bad. But I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You post it. That's still fine. Post it, and you get better as you do it. I've actually recently posted on Instagram, a couple of comparisons from like, this is, and it was so bad. I cringe when I watch it. 2021 me sitting down being like, hi, so you're going to lose weight. Da, 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 da. I was like, what?
I can assure you it was not as bad as...
It was so bad. I was like, I can't believe this is how I was putting this like happy attitude or something, but when it comes to talking, it almost felt like the voice came from here, like, ah, nah, 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 instead of just actually like knowing yourself and having the voice come from the inside. But it comes only with practice. You can't get better if you don't do it. So that's what I tell clients. If you're, and this is for your clients who might be listening, if you have never done content and recording yourself on camera or talking to camera, it will be very difficult to sit down and talk. You're going to pay attention to how your mouth moves and how you look instead of who you're helping. So the best way to begin is to first record something and later voice over it. Literally just, I record the planes and I talk about my work days. The next time, record that as you're speaking in real time. So you're already practicing the talking. Of course, you might do it for a week this way. Then you're comfortable. So then you might be recording the dog walking and you're saying that you care about your steps even when it's cold outside. So you're going outside and you're doing your steps. Then next time you might record yourself from far away, maybe preparing your food or exercising or something, and then voice over this. So like you have you in the video and then you voice over it. Then you might have you from far away talking something. And then you sit down and do stories when you're talking. They will disappear after 24 hours. It doesn't matter. And then you can, once you become good at stories, then you can make this into reels, and you can still always delete it. I often go and delete the old stuff that I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad. Or it doesn't resonate with who I am, or it portrays something that I don't teach anymore or whatever. So you can always delete it, but starting kind of like, little bit by little bit by little bit, but you have to commit yourself to the process, because if you just record your dog. I have a client who started and she was first, posting her dog. I'm like, great. But after 2 weeks, I'm like, dude, enough dog. This is not a dog page. You need to start posting your own stuff. You have to start talking. I've already seen your dog enough times. Unless you sit with the dog, you can have the dog with you. Maybe it will be cool or distracting or something, but you can't just post your dog. And so if you commit yourself to doing it, it's like with exercise, everything gets easier, everything gets better. But the beauty of content in my mind is that it creates trust with people. Oftentimes people, I don't need to do sales calls with many people because they've seen enough. They already know who I am. They've heard me talk. They've heard my stand on nutrition or training or this and that. And they already like, how do I sign up? What do I sign up for? Is there one program or there's different programs? I've already seen 75 of your reels and I hear it all the time. Podcast is good, but podcast is like, it's like deeper. The video people might watch or the snippets they might watch, but to listen to the whole thing, it's not nearly as popular or common.
Like the reason I'm doing these is more like middle of funnel. Like I'm very aware of that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Middle of funnel is great. Yeah, totally.
I didn't know that this would happen, but I got not lots. I've got old clients and they've said very complimentary things, especially not the ones that I have now haven't, but I think they're also speaking from like a 5 years in the past. So they've been doing some awesome stuff along that way, and they say nice things. I'm gonna ask you a final question of what you're excited about going forward. But tell me about the bodybuilding. I'm always curious how people get into that, the pros and the cons of doing it. I mean, there must be some real downsides, but there must be some big upsides into why people get. It's not even, you have to get obsessed by it, right?
So the simple answer is when I started working with at an all female facility, I noticed very quickly like I don't want to say lack of commitment to fitness, but like working with guys mostly at the gym prior, everyone was in their best shape. And it was kind of sexist, kind of mean, but like everyone was really performing. And then I go and I'm around these women and like everyone was kind of chubby and everyone was kind of like, eh. And I was like gaining weight working over there. And I'm like, I need to have my own goals because this is not going to be good. I don't like it. So, and I knew some people who did bodybuilding. And again, that was very early. That was 2008, 9 when I became a personal trainer. So 2011, I hired a trainer who did bodybuilding. I just knew this one person who trained with this person. She was in Florida. So I hired them and I started training with them. And
because I wanted intention to do shows.
To compete. To compete. So they were only working with bodybuilders right from the beginning. And so I actually, when I first applied, they were like, oh, we can take you to like under construction team. And I was like, dude, I'm a trainer. I can get myself to like you can qualify me. So I was like, no, I don't want to under construction. Basically like you need a personal trainer. You don't need a competition. I was like, no. So then I started like studying what it is that these people do. And so I got myself in the better shape to like not be under construction with them, but actually just competition prep team. So I joined that and I trained with them that was like the end of the year, for a few months, and I competed for the first time, and I have never been to a competition before. Like I've never sat in the audience to watch. So we go there, we do the stuff. It was just so funny because we get off the stage and people are like, Monika, you excited? You're first call out. And I'm like, what is first call out? I have no idea what that means. They're like, that means you're going to place. That means you're going to be one of the first 5. I'm like, whatever. And you work so hard that you don't really even realize how you look when on this competition day, when they put the tan on you. I was like, this is how I look like? Because I haven't even sat in front of the mirror because you just cardio strength. And so it was very difficult back then because there was no companies that prep your food. There was, now I order food. I haven't cooked in 4 years. I get everything delivered on trays and that's it. I don't want to play with my food. I prefer to work more. That's it. So then you had to prep your food and portion and all this. And so I did very well in the first one. And then I did it for 5 years straight. It was great for work because suddenly it's just like instant credibility. Everyone wants to work with you. I remember working at that old women's gym, and my general manager, my fitness directors, they would do sales for the gym, and they walk the people around and show them around, and every member would get two complimentary sessions, and they were like, the intro session and kind of like one fitness session. And they would ask me, Monica, can you please do this complimentary session for this? Because we were getting like, I don't know, $20 an hour for this, as opposed to like 60 to 100 for personal training, depending on what you were doing. And I was like, I was booked. I didn't take new clients. You had to know someone who knew someone to get into my schedule. Or the managers were like, please, she's going to sign up for the gym only if you're going to give her the complimentary session. I'm like, well, if you sell her on training and she already will get training, then yes, but I don't want to be spending 2 hours with someone who just wants to like learn from me and doesn't want to work with me. So it was hugely beneficial when it came to work. And until this day, my method is all about creating visual aesthetic results, to look a certain way. So I still use this knowledge. I still use both nutrition and training. I'm super grateful. I would never do it again because I feel like now it's just so, unless you're on like massive amount of pharmaceuticals, you can't do well. I don't want to do that. So, but I still use the knowledge. I still benefit from it every single day. I mean, it's the yo-yo of gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight. It's messing with your head. It definitely messes with your head. You lose weight, you feel like a superhero, then a month later you're chubby. And so the up and down is just so bad. And then, you have this crazy unrealistic expectation of your body that you should be shredded all year round. And especially as a woman, I feel like as a guy, you can kind of get away with it. But the clients, admire you so much, but then you gain the weight and you can see like, they're looking at you like, oh, what's going on here? Like she really lets herself go, So it's
I
like,
did a photo shoot and then randomly, like three years later, some guy I used to know from where I grew up, I can't remember exactly what, I saw him in a random pub, and he thought I was my brother, and I was like, no, it's Tim, and he was like, and he literally looked at me and he goes, he's like, I saw you on the photo shoot, and he looked at me and I was like, yeah, and he's like, like it was like, you fat bastard, like look at the same.
Don't look like that. Yeah.
No, you don't. I wasn't going to educate him, but I was like, no, you don't look like that. Like I didn't do a show.
Yeah.
That was hard for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like especially
no.
week. I did. It's not that I didn't feel like, I know people talk about like feeling terrible, but like I didn't feel good. Obviously, I looked the best I'd had because it was a lot of prep. But like I could understand that. Like even
the exhaustion.
Like just and the thing about like a month later, you're like,
what was this for? Yeah. I prepped a couple of clients. Yeah, I prepped a couple of clients and they were like, you're crazy for doing this. All this work for this? And and the awards, I have them literally here. So this is the awards, plastic awards, like the one with red, and I have a couple with blue. So I did very well when I was competing, I have them all here. I did very well because I always took it very seriously. But actually the good thing was that at that time when I was competing, I didn't have my American citizenship yet, and you couldn't compete in the IFBB. So you could be just in it's NPC, National Physique Committee. So it's the amateur league. And so I knew, like, I did very well in that, but I was never going to do the professional stuff because I didn't have my citizenship. And actually, in 2015, when I got my citizenship, my main reason was to compete in bodybuilding. And then I did the figure, and my coach at the time was so naive. And he said to me, I was like, so I worked so hard. I was so crazy lean. I was shredded, all natural shredded. And then I asked him, like, what can I do to do better in the next competition? Because I was so small. I was so tiny. I was so tiny. The muscles were so tiny when I lost all the fat. And he said, oh, you're going to have to start pinning yourself. And I was like, what does that mean? And when I understood what that meant, I was like, oh, no, thank you. Like, no. This is a hobby. This is an enhancement to my career. And at that point, I also thought to myself, I've done it all in a sense of, I competed in New York, I competed in Boston, and many times, and I had the pictures, and I had the credentials, and I had the awards, and I was like, and I had the knowledge. And so doing it again now would be just a matter of doing the same things again and again. You're just, it's kind of like you learned it all. It's like I had this fitness studio for 3 years. I learned it all, moving on. And same thing with bodybuilding. Like after some time, you just learned it and there's nothing else to learn. There's nothing else to experience. And so you're just like, okay, what would this be for? Is this the best usage of my time, attention, energy, money? In working in person with people, that was very
Yeah.
helpful because they saw me changing from day to day to day, and they were like, holy shit, how's this even possible? And it makes them realize like how much they're fooling around with food and training, because it's possible to do it quickly if you actually do everything that needs to be done. But people kind of do like 50-50, 80-20, or some other 75-25. And so when they see someone doing it 100%, then they're like, wow, this is crazy. And so it shows you what's possible. And listen, I'm 43 and I still kind of keep myself in a very strict regimen just because I like it. I like to be able to be in content and not be like, oh, I have a role or something. Or, I still want to be a role model no matter what. No matter where I meet people, they're all, ask me, do you do something in fitness? What kind of do you do? Are you a trainer? Are you an athlete? Are you something? And to me, the moment people stop asking, even if I'm 60, that's a problem. Because if I do this, I better lead by example, So that's the part for me that is very important, because I would never, ever, ever ask clients to do something that I don't do.
Yeah.
So,
Monica, let me ask you one last question. What are you excited about going forward?
The fact that the world is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I'm excited to work more, even globally. It was here locally, then it was a little bit global, and now I'm back in Boston and people travel, and I've worked in Europe and I have clients in Europe. So like doing retreats or being a part of somebody else's retreat like yours, or doing business things in person, to really close the gap of like location is not a problem. But like we can connect online on a daily basis, and then once every 6 months we can connect in person. Because I absolutely agree with what you said earlier, that having work online, but also meeting in person every couple of months, every 3 months, every 6 months, that is the future. So that you have the community, but you also have the in-person aspect. So you can be living anywhere you want, but there is a meeting point every some time, so that you can connect with your people and your people can connect with you and they can collaborate. The community is huge, that and online there's limitations to it, so doing it in person, absolutely so key. So yeah, I think that this, as business owners, we should connect and unite and create things together to really merge the communities, because with, like you said, with AI and with a lot of these major huge brands like Tony Robbins or Joe Dispenza or Mel Robbins or all these other huge people, we can't compete with them, or we don't want to compete with them, but there is place and time for what we do, and we sure should maximize our potential.
That's awesome. And where's the best place? We'll do some show notes. I'm suggesting that you're going to say Insta, but where else can people find out?
Anywhere under Monika A. Mazur, Monika.
Where's your surname from?
Poland.
Is it
It's Polish. Yeah, Mazury is the region of Poland with lakes.
I did not know that. So it's literally your name, because it's
anywhere under my name, LinkedIn and my podcast and Instagram and Facebook, everywhere under my name. And I'm happy to connect with anyone who found this valuable. Again, the world is a small place, and we should support each other with our gifts and skills and wisdom. And thank you so much for having me on, Tim. This was
awesome.
great.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.